Hello, everybody. I wish to welcome you to my class today. And the title of my class is Characteristics of Behavioral Disorders. As a matter of introduction, I would like to say that to decide whether a person has developed serious behavior disorders or abnormality, we have to identify the type of behavior in the person or diagnose the person's behavior with the help of a certain symptoms or a group of symptoms that we already know. So I want us to look at the characteristics symptoms that we can use in order to understand the characteristics of a specific behavior disorder. First and foremost, I want us to begin with looking at the physical symptoms that would help us whether somebody has a behavioral disorder or not. The physical symptoms. The body and mind in an individual are always closely associated. Therefore, the problem of behavior disorder may not only be manifested through mental symptoms, but also through body signs or physical symptoms like the following. 1, change in temperatures. 2, pulse and respiration. Unusual and extreme change in weight of the body. Loss or abnormal appetite and thirst. Nausea, vomiting, headache and dizziness. Cough, excessive fatigue, body pains, and abnormal capillary activity. And finally, motor incoordination. So those are the physical symptoms that somebody who has a behavioral disorder can be able to manifest. Now let's look at the psychological symptoms. The behavior of a disturbed person is quite abnormal. The abnormalities in all his behavior are found in the domains of his behavior, that is cognitive and affective domains. We also are being displayed through the psychomotor domain. There are definite disturbances and disorders in these processes, which will give rise to the following definite symptoms. So we shall be looking at the mental symptoms, motor symptoms, and emotional symptoms. So I want us to begin by looking at the mental symptoms. These symptoms can be explained as follows. Symptoms concerning disorder of the sensation. Sensory processes concerning the sense of sight, hearing, smell, touch, and taste may be disturbed. It may be present but decreased in intensity, increased in intensity or distorted. The disorder of the sense of touch is quite frequent in the cases of abnormality and mental illnesses. Symptoms concerning disorders of perception. Sensation attached with some definite meaning and interpretation is taken as perception. Illusions and hallucinations represent the two most common symptoms of disorder based on the disturbance of perception. Illusion is the mistaken perception when objects are not perceived as they are. There is always a misinterpretation of internal and real stimuli, which leads to the distortion of what is seen, what is heard, what is touched, smelled, or even tasted. Hallucinations, on the other hand, represent false perception where the individual perceives an object without any basis in reality. Symptoms concerning disorder of the memory. This is a loss of memory which usually occurs after precipitating events such as the head injury, or severe emotional shock. Now let's look at the symptoms which concerns disorders of thought. And these symptoms include the following. 1. Flight of ideas and word hash, in bracket salad. Flight of ideas consisting of series of rapid jump from one idea to another. One has extreme rapidly of association of ideas, but in no ordered train of thought. Number 2, blocking of the thought processes or delay of the mental association. This is a case when a person has a sudden failure in the sequences of mental association. For example, when asked, "Why did you go there?" the affected person may say, "I went there for..." The thinking in this patient is slow and laborious. Number 3, agnosia. This is related with the loss of an individual's power to perceive existing relationships in the world around them. Apatia. It denotes an individual's loss of understanding or producing language as a result. An individual may lose his ability to use spoken language, in brackets motor apatia, or maybe unable to see his ability to write, in brackets aprasia. In alexia, the person may have the ability to read written words, or in sensory apatia, the ability to understand the spoken word. The next thing is fixed idea or obsession. This denotes a distorted mental association when some ideas or sequences of word or phrase and so preserved in the mental association process that it becomes very difficult to remove them. An obsession is always unwelcome and conflict generating in the sense that the affected person realizes that his belief or thought is contrary to social reality. And finally, delusions. These are significant disorders of judgment. Delusions may be defined as persistent thoughts or false belief or beliefs which the individual defends vigorously by believing them to be absolutely true despite logical absurdity or proof to the contrary, and despite their serious interferences with these social adjustments. The individual never stands for the corrections in these beliefs, in brackets, which have no basis in reality and are often inconsistent with the individual's knowledge and experience. Now, finally, let's look at the emotional symptoms. These are abnormalities of the affective processes. An unrealistic excessive increase in the emotional reactions, in brackets affective experience, conscious and unconscious, make the outstanding symptoms for many disorders or illness. These include anxiety, mentioned here before, reactions concerning elation and depression, apathy, anger, and fear. So I want us to look at this one at a time. 1. Elation and depression. Elation involves exaggerated feeling of well-being in an individual. The person displays a natural state of happiness that shows itself in singing, dancing, excited, talking, and much laughter despite the objective situation. Depression, on the other hand, is characterized by increased perception of physical pain and guilt consciousness. It's also characterized by worry, signs, weeping, crying, and refusal to eat and speak. Number 2, apathy. Apathy manifests decrease in affection when one feels neither happy nor sad. This person experiences emotional flatness, that is, events that normally evoke anger, happiness, sadness, shame, and sympathy have no effect upon the person affected by apathy. Anxiety. These symptoms of anxiety include tensions, restlessness, tremor, nausea, rapid pulse, palpitation, and profuse perspiration. The individual under effects of anxiety anticipate a danger or disaster that he may or may not be able to describe clearly. Anger. Experience abnormal anger exhibits the emotion of anger as generalized disposition to be aggressive towards everyone and everything, or it may be focused on a specific person without any reasonable basis of showing such aggressive behavior. And finally, fear. Pathological fear, called phobia, is another indication of mental illness or disorder. Phobia is a persistent fear of something which is not objectively a source of danger, but which the patient reacts to with a real fear, despite the fact that he realizes this reaction is inappropriate. So that marks the end of our class today, where we've been looking at the characteristics of behavioral disorders. Thank you.